closest we ever got to a recruitment drive. Mostly we relied on our organic approach, and when I turned up the following Monday, I could tell it was beginning to work. I walked into the Half Moon and saw Chris standing at one end of the bar and Mike at the other. There were also a couple of blokes sitting at the corner table who were obviously waiting for something to happen. As I came in, they all peered hopefully in my direction. I hadn't bothered arriving early because I knew there was no need, but according to George, the rest of them, including Chris, had been there since 8 o'clock. "Where's James?" I asked. "At the back?" "Yeah," replied George. "He's been here since 8 as well." It was 5 to 9, so I decided to go through to the back room to see if James was ready. To my surprise, I found the door locked from the inside. I gave it a knock. "James?" I called. "It's me." And after a short delay, he opened up. "Sorry," he explained. "I had to lock it. They've all been pestering me for the past hour." "Well," I replied, "I must say they look very eager. Anyway, they could come in now, if you'd like to tell them." I obeyed his instruction, and at 9 o'clock we all filed into the back room. James had prepared it exactly the same as the previous week, with the red portable again taking centre stage on the table. The two newcomers, I noticed, glanced at it in a deferential manner as they drew near. They were called Dave and Barry, and each carried a small clutch of records. So did Chris, Mike, and I. "Thanks for coming, everybody," said James. "Now, Barry, would you like to get proceedings underway?" Barry handed over his first record and James laid it carefully on the turntable before switching on. The moment it started, I knew what it was. Apparently Mike did too. "How I Wrote Plastic Man," he announced. 4 minutes 19 seconds. James immediately stopped the record. "Sorry, Mike," he said, "but you must try and remember this is primarily a listening society. We don't allow comments or judgments, especially while records are playing." "Oh, right," said Mike. "Sorry." "Has everyone else got the message?" James added. There was a murmur of assent. "Good." James was about to restart the record when Barry spoke. "By the way," he said, "it's Elastic Man." "Well, it sounds like Plastic Man to me," said Mike. "That's deliberate," said Dave. "He sings Plastic Man to be controversial, but it's actually Elastic Man." "What's it say on the label?" "Elastic Man." "Can we please proceed?" snapped James. "Sorry," they all chorused, and at last he managed to play the record in its entirety. Next in turn was Mike. As I expected, he'd brought along a set of short, hardcore performances, including a breakneck version of She's Not There, which lasted barely 2 minutes. My first offering was Nothing to Fear, followed later by Geraldine and That's Entertainment. Chris, on the other hand, had opted for something much more traditional. We sat around the table in our various attitudes, serene, solemn, mesmerized, and so forth, and listened to the jangling introduction, a chorus, 2 verses, another chorus, and a jangling fade-out. Afterwards, there was a long silence, finally broken by Chris. "Take me for a trip upon your magic swirling ship." It was all he said, but we knew exactly what he meant. Well, most of us did anyway. "How come he's allowed to speak and not me?" demanded Mike. "Nobody's allowed to speak," said James firmly. Then, realizing he'd probably overstepped the mark, he softened his tone a little. "Is there anything you'd like to add?" "It's just that I've never heard that one before." "You must have." "I haven't," said Mike. "How long is it?" James peered at the label. 2 minutes, 18 seconds. "Their follow-ups are even shorter," said Dave. 2 minutes, 2 seconds, and 2 minutes 4 if I'm not mistaken. "Really?" said Mike, evidently fascinated by this information. "I'll have to check him out." James, meanwhile, had lapsed into a resigned silence. I could see he was suffering deep inner turmoil, so I decided to intercede. "Time for the next choice."